today I am doing something a little different. Kaitlin at Bandy's Books has asked me to give her 3 books to read. Well, recommendations for 3 books to read. And I jumped at the opportunity. I've gotten some great recommendations from her, and so I felt it was about time for me to return the favor. So I thought through what I know that she likes to read, and I think I've come up with 3 books that I hope she'll like. We'll see. So the first book that I have, I was thinking, what kind of books does Kaitlin like? She likes books in translation. So last year I read a translated book that I really enjoyed, and I think that Kaitlin will enjoy it too. It's called The Hummingbird by, let me see if I get this name right, Sandro Veronesi, and it's translated from the Italian by Elena. So this is a kind of quiet book in a way. It's the story of a man's life, and he's not a notable person. He's not someone that people would think leaves a big mark on the world, but he does. He is proof that just we all affect everybody around us, and we all have value and we all have worth. And this book made me cry. I don't know if Kaitlin's prone to cry in books, but if she is, that's coming. That's a possibility. She may cry in it. I love the writing of it. I had never heard of this author, and I don't think any of his other books have been translated into English yet. I'll have to check and see, because I would really like to read more of what he's written, because I did really enjoy this. It's set, I believe it's set in Florence. Yes, it's set in Florence, and he really brings the city to life. And it's not, the sort of tourist city that we always get, but it's just, the people who live in Florence, what their lives are like. There is a challenging element to this book in that it has a non-linear timeline. However, I know that Kaitlin is up for dealing for something like that. So I hope she really enjoys this one. It's one that really left a mark on me, and we'll see what she thinks. The next book I have popped into my head after she was reviewing Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. And I had even included this book in a comment to her, and she said that, she was interested in reading it. So I am pushing it up her TBR. And this is another mythology retelling, except it's not a Greek mythology retelling. It is The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichec. And this book is a retelling of Norse mythology, and it's about Agraboda, at least I think that's how you say her name, and she is the wife of Loki and the mother of monsters. So this book is, first of all, beautifully written. The prose is just poetry on the page. And it does have that sort of almost fairy tale like feeling to it, which I appreciate, because that's kind of what I think of with mythology. And the one thing to keep in mind in this book is that the weird quotient is super high. And that's not because the author's kind of got a twisty creative mind. It's because Norse mythology is incredibly bizarre. Greek mythology is totally vanilla compared to it. But so everything that's really weird in this book is actually from Norse mythology. This book is very, very faithful to the source material, which is great if you know that going into it. So you just know it's going to be very strange. And she doesn't back away from some of the very, very strange things that happen in this book. But even with that, this is just a wonderful story about a woman finding her way in life, dealing with loss, and, figuring out to continue after loss. And it's a book with a lot of hope in the end. I really enjoyed this one, and I know that Kaitlin's gonna love this one. And finally, I know that Kaitlin likes to read books, diverse books, and she's also not afraid to read books with sort of difficult subject matter. And so for this, I chose a book that I just recently read called Night Wherever We Go by Tracey Rose Peyton. So this is historical fiction, and it's about 6 enslaved women in Texas in the 1850s. So there's some really notable things that I really appreciated in this book. The first one is that this is a very realistic depiction of what the institution of slavery was like. I think in popular culture, the image that they try to give us is what's gone with the wind. And that's a fairy tale. That's not true. That's not at all what any of this was like. And yes, there were very wealthy plantation owners. They were the 1%. The vast majority of people who were enslaved were not on these big, huge plantations. They lived a very hard scrabble life. And while this book takes place in Texas, which was on the frontier, which makes it a little bit different than some of the other places, I still think this is a very true to life depiction of what it was like to be enslaved at that time. So the basis of this is there's these 6 enslaved women who their owner, who's a not very good farmer and not a very good person, not only has them to be workers on his, I think he's trying to go, he grows different things, but mostly cotton. He doesn't just want them for labor. He also wants to breed them. And the women come up with a way to rebel against this. It's a book that you kind of feel like it's a slice of life book when you go on, but when you finish it, you realize that there was a pretty strong plot all the way through it. It also has a very creative narrative structure. So it is told in third person and first person plural. So we get like different viewpoints, which are in third person from the 6 women. But then when that's happening, the other 5 women are almost like a Greek chorus, and they're talking in the first person plural. It was very readable. It wasn't a challenge to read this. It was just very creative. I know that Kaitlin likes books that don't back off from the hard stuff, and this book does not back off from the hard stuff. This book kind of hit me in the gut, and I'm pretty sure that it'll hit Kaitlin in the gut too. So those are my 3 books, and I'm really interested to see what Kaitlin thinks of them. We have pretty similar tastes, and I have enjoyed the books that she has recommended that I've read. So I'm hoping that this returns the favor. So we'll see what happens.